One stasis turret is enough to turn the tides of battle. So what could you do with an infinite army of them? From abilities, exotics, and weapons, to mods, stats, playstyles, and more, this video will teach you everything you need to know to become an invincible, omnipresent Stasis Warlock god. I teamed up with Imagine, the brains behind this build, to show you the Stasis Warlock in all its glory. With this video, we will make you a Destiny legend. Win your subscriptions and change the way you play the game forever. Welcome to the Stasis Warlock Playbook. The idea of this build is to be everywhere on the map at once, and through a combination of infinite turrets, crafty use of our abilities, the correct mod setup, and a perfected playstyle, we can achieve just that. Throughout this video, we will carefully construct your Stasis Warlock into an omnipresent Emperor who commands their frosted sentries to dominate the battle. But to get there, we must first begin with the basics. That doesn't mean, however, that they are simple by any means. In fact, most players don't even know most of the information we are about to tell you, and understanding all of the quirks and nuances of your kit is essential to mastering this playstyle. If you don't have a strong foundation to build up from, studying the more complex aspects of the class is pointless. There is no better place to start than with our first aspect, Bleak Watcher, which along with granting 2 fragment slots, also allows you to charge your grenade to convert it into a stasis turret that acts as an auto-aiming, freezing extension of yourself. The stasis turret will last on the field for 25 seconds and automatically fire bursts of stasis bolts at enemies, shooting in bursts of 5, with each shot applying 20 stacks of slow to target's hit. Although this turret is untargetable by enemies, it does intercept shots that do happen to hit it, allowing you to use it as a form of cover if needed. Bleak Watcher will also only fire at targets that are not currently frozen, a debuff we will talk about shortly. But first we need to talk about Slow, a stasis subclass specific debuff that of course slows enemies, but also reduces their accuracy, and in the case of non-boss enemies, disables all ability activations, such as grenades, movement abilities, and more. If an enemy receives 100 stacks of slow, deliverable via a full burst from our stasis turret, they are inflicted with the freeze debuff, which along with also being specific to the stasis subclass, completely immobilizes any non-boss target for 5 seconds or until receiving significant damage, upon which they will shatter, the final effect of the stasis suite that breaks enemies from their icy prison, dealing damage to both them and surrounding enemies. Shatter also deals bonus damage to frozen enemies, thus increasing the likelihood for chain reactions of Shatter to occur. Shatter also synchronizes beautifully with our second aspect, Ice Flare Bolts, which along with also granting 2 fragment slots, spawns Seekers that track and freeze other nearby targets after shattering a frozen target. The neat thing about Ice Flare Bolts is that you do not need to be the one to shatter the target for it to activate, meaning that by laying turrets around the map to freeze enemies that your teammates can shatter, you effectively turn them into mini shade binders that can proc your Ice Flare Bolts for you even if they aren't using stasis. The grenade that we will be constantly consuming to summon our Bleak Watcher turrets is the Cold Snap Grenade, which if used normally spawns a Seeker that tracks and explodes in a cone to freeze targets, spawning another Seeker up to a total of 2 times. However, there are more reasons why using this grenade specifically is extremely important, which we will touch on in Chapter 2. Moving on to our fragments, we begin with the Whisper of Fissures, which increases the size and damage of our stasis shatters. Up next is Whisper of Durance, which increases the duration of our slow debuffs from 2 to 5 seconds, as well as the duration of our Bleak Watcher turrets from 25 to 30 seconds. After that is Whisper of Chains, which grants 40% damage resistance while within 8 meters of a frozen enemy. And finally, we have Whisper of Refraction, which grants a 15% refund to your class ability when defeating a slowed or frozen target. You'll understand why this is incredibly helpful in Chapter 4. Last but not least is our melee and super abilities. Our melee ability, Penumbral Blast, fires a stasis projectile that can travel up to 21 meters or until it hits an enemy, at which point it will explode, instantly freezing all enemies caught in the explosion. Our super ability, Winter's Wrath, transforms our primary fire into a barrage of stasis shards that freezes targets, and our secondary fire, which costs no super energy to use, into a large shockwave that shatters all frozen targets. Now, before we move on to the next chapter, I do want to mention I am giving away 2 Scientia Illuminata emblem codes. All you have to do to enter is leave a comment below letting me know what you think of the video so far. And you don't have to for the giveaway, but I would appreciate it if you would also consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to my channel, as well as Imagine's linked in the description, especially if you've learned something new so far. With all that being said, let's talk about the exotic armor piece that will grant us infinite grenades. The exotic armor piece that will take our ubiquitous stasis turret presence to the next level is none other than the Osmiomancy gloves. These gloves grant a whole slew of bonus effects to our Cold Snap grenades, not only giving us an additional Cold Snap grenade charge, but also allowing the Seekers to travel 35% further and refund grenade energy upon both directly hitting and freezing an enemy. This grenade refund percentage is based on the tier of the enemy, with tier 1 enemies such as Thralls granting 12.5% per hit, tier 2 enemies like Acolytes granting 25% per hit, tier 3 enemies such as Captains and Elites granting 33% per hit, and mini-bosses, champions, and bosses granting 50% per hit. Thanks to the intrinsic effects of Cold Snap grenades allowing them to function recursively twice, you can proc this grenade refund instance up to 4 times per grenade, with 1 direct hit and 3 Seeker freezes. Additionally, should 1 Seeker freeze multiple enemies, you receive the refunded grenade energy for every enemy frozen, allowing you to theoretically refund infinite amounts of grenade energy with just 1 grenade. It is worth noting, however, that the grenade does have to deal damage for the grenade refund to occur, making it impossible to receive energy when hitting immune targets. Although the primary purpose of Osmiomancy gloves is to provide a second grenade charge to allow us to throw more stasis turrets, it also provides the ancillary capability of allowing us to instantly freeze large groups of regular enemies or individual mini-bosses, champions, and bosses practically for free. This is because a Cold Snap grenade thrown at large groups of enemies will refund a significant chunk of itself, assuming that it hits them all. And in the case of any mini-boss, champion, or boss, you can freeze them without losing any grenade energy whatsoever by landing a direct impact with the grenade, which will then fall on the floor to freeze them, to grant 2 separate instances of 50% refund to your grenade, allowing you to keep them frozen infinitely. Now that we understand how to loop our grenades with our Osmiomancy gloves, let's talk about the weapons that can increase our grenade generating capabilities tenfold. Similar to how an Arc Hunter is not complete without their 1-2 punch shotgun, a proper Stasis Warlock shouldn't go anywhere without their trusted Stasis Fusion Rifle. There are many reasons why a Stasis Fusion Rifle is our weapon of choice, some of which will become more apparent when we talk about our mods in the next chapter, and others which we will talk about right now. The primary reason for running a fusion rifle is thanks to its synergy with Demolitionist, a perk that refunds grenade energy when killing enemies with the weapon it resides on, in addition to reloading that weapon when throwing a grenade. Demolitionist is significantly stronger on special ammo weapons compared to primary and power weapons for the purposes of grenade refund, since it refunds 20% of your grenade for every special weapon kill, while only refunding 10% for primary and power weapon kills. There are only 2 weapons in the game that meet the criteria of being both a Stasis Fusion Rifle and being able to roll the Demolitionist perk, in the Deliverance from the Vow of the Disciple raid, and the Riptide from Shaxx's Crucible Engram Focusing, or the Crucible itself. In a pinch, the Riptide will work perfectly fine for this build. If you are a raider, however, the craftable Deliverance is the superior option if you can get your hands on it. The first way the Deliverance tops the charts is with the Chill Clip perk being an option in its first column, which causes a 50 stack slowing explosion on direct hits, while the magazine of the gun is 50% full or higher, which is always, given how often you will be automatically reloading the weapon with grenade and turret throws. The second reason the Deliverance is more desirable than the Riptide is thanks to its capability to be crafted and thus harbor enhanced perks. It is for this reason that we actually recommend against the Adept version of Deliverance, since it can't be crafted with enhanced perks. So don't worry, no master raids necessary. Feel like that deserves a like, am I right? The enhanced version of Demolitionist specifically increases the 20% grenade refund on final blows to 24%. This isn't necessary to have by any means, but can offer a bit more flexibility and freedom when it comes to your combos and rotations. In addition to Chill Clip and enhanced Demolitionist, you'll also want a Charge Time Masterwork, Arrowhead Break, and Projection Fuse on your crafted Deliverance, which altogether increases the fire rate and effective range of the weapon, making it much easier to use. But once again, although Deliverance is the superior option when it comes to the two fusion rifles that suit our build, you can still get by completely fine with a Demolitionist Riptide. These fusion rifles will become even more powerful as well when paired with our mods coming up in the next chapter, where we will show you the final pieces needed to enable your infinite stasis turret loop. Our mods and stats are what take this build to the next level. However, build crafting can be a bit meticulous, so I provided a Destiny item manager link in the pinned comment and description of this video that, assuming you own all of them, will automatically copy all of the aspects, fragments, and mods of this build with just a few clicks. I'll also show an on-screen diagram of which armor pieces all of these mods slot into, along with what elemental affinity each armor piece should be after we talk about the mods themselves. No need to say thanks either, you can just tap the like and subscribe buttons down below instead. Also, don't worry if you are missing any or all of these. This build can still function pretty darn well on its own until you get them. Besides, we'll have some alternative mod recommendations for you after we touch on the first round draft picks anyway. We will not be recommending any seasonal mods as well, to ensure that this build stands the test of time and doesn't expire with the turn of the seasons. You are more than welcome to use them if and where you see fit, but by no means are they necessary. The first of our mods, which just so happens to make great use of our Stasis fusion rifle from the previous chapter, is Quick Charge, a 5 energy arc mod that grants us a stack of Charged with Light when rapidly defeating multiple combatants with fusion rifles or shotguns. Specifically, we are granted a stack of Charged with Light anytime we kill 2 enemies within a 5-second period, which is very easy even in the hardest of activities. These Charged with Light stacks will be doubled as well thanks to Stacks on Stacks, a 4 energy Void mod which grants an additional stack of Charged with Light for every stack we gain. These stacks of Charged with Light will be spent via Firepower, a 4 energy Solar mod which refunds a portion of our grenade on grenade cast in exchange for 1 stack of Charged with Light. Specifically, we are refunded 15% of our grenade per cast for every copy of Firepower we have equipped, the number of which you need we will talk about soon. Moving on to our armor piece specific mods, we begin with Harmonic Siphon, a 1 energy neutral helmet mod that generates an orb of power with the same activation criteria as Quick Charge, requiring 2 kills within 5 seconds using weapon damage that matches your subclass, aka your Stasis fusion rifle. Our next mod, a 1 energy solar boots mod called Innervation, can make great use of these Harmonic Siphon generated orbs of power by refunding 10% grenade energy on orb pickup. After that is Bomber, a 2 energy solar class item mod that refunds 25% grenade energy every time we cast our class ability. This can be made possible even more frequently thanks to not only Whisper of Refraction from Chapter 1, but also thanks to Bolstering Detonation, a 1 energy void arms mod that grants 25% class ability refund when damaging a target with a grenade, with a 4.5 second cooldown between activations. It's worth noting that our Stasis turret damage also counts as grenade damage, thus activating the effects of this mod. Finally, we have Special Finisher, a 2 energy neutral class item mod that consumes 1/3 of your super to generate a special ammo brick on enemy finishers. This not only allows us to maintain our loop of getting kills with our Demolitionist fusion rifle for grenade energy and stacks of charge with light to continue spamming grenades, but it also provides a constant flow of special ammo for all of our teammates as well. Couple all of that with the orbs we are creating from Harmonic Siphon and the additional grenade cooldown from everything mentioned above, and you become a special ammo and stasis turret generating machine. Overall, we recommend you use 3 stacks of firepower on a solar helmet, boots, and class item for a 45% grenade refund on every throw while charged with light, along with Harmonic Siphon, Innervation, and Bomber respectively. You'll also want to slot stacks on stacks and bolstering detonation onto your Void gloves and quick charge on an arc chest piece. A fusion rifle scavenger mod on the boots can also be extremely helpful for maximum demolitionist and quick charge uptime. This layout allows room for a minor stat mod on your boots and class item, along with major stat mods on your helmets, arms, and chest, which can optionally be subbed out for things like finders, reloaders or champion mods, and resists or reserves. As for alternatives, if you are lacking stacks on stacks, you can simply throw on another copy of firepower. Should quick charge be your missing mod, you can run taking charge instead. And if firepower is what is eluding you, unfortunately there isn't really a suitable replacement for it. You can still run this build quite effectively with the base layout we have gone over so far, but be sure to keep your eye on Ada 1's inventory to pick it up whenever she sells it. As for stats, being able to reliably roam anywhere on the map while endlessly chucking your stasis turrets is the power fantasy we are aiming for. As such, resilience is going to be your #1 focus, followed by discipline in second place. And because your super bar can effectively be used as a special ammo generator, leading to more orbs, charged with light stacks, and grenades, intellect will be your 3rd prioritization. With any leftover points you have after that, I would recommend recovery 4th. Now that you have all of the parts and pieces put together, it's time for us to show you the how behind playing your frozen super soldier to perfection. Now that you have all of the parts and pieces assembled, it is time for us to show you how to become a Stasis Warlock God. Throughout your journey with this build, you will pass through 3 stages of experience, beginning as the Conjurer. As the Conjurer, your primary focus is to become comfortable with your ability rotations, becoming familiar with your grenade throwing loop and receiving charge with light and 48% grenade energy every 2 fusion kills, followed by 45% grenade refund on throw and energy from the ancillary mods that aid with our cooldowns, is of paramount importance. In this stage, you are not worried about your teammates, efficiency, or map-wide domination. Becoming proficient in all of these feats can only be done with a strong foundation of core ability rotation familiarity. In time, you will learn to know this core rotation like the back of your hand, at which point you will become the Sorcerer. As the Sorcerer, you have mastered your base rotation and can now begin to understand how to properly manage and make the most out of all of the resources available to you. To do so, you must understand the concept of the battery. On screen, the maximum amount of grenades you can hold is 2, but when you factor in all of the readily available ways to generate additional grenade energy, that number of reserve grenades increases significantly. To understand this properly, you need to change the way you think about your second grenade charge, viewing it not simply as a second grenade, but as a battery that stores excess grenade energy. When executing the core rotation you'll master as the Conjurer, you'll lose 7% grenade energy per combo in total, since you gain 93% energy back from your Demolitionist fusion rifle double kill and charged with light grenade throw. Instead of waiting for that 7% to return back, you are effectively borrowing it from your battery stored in the second charge. Thinking about your second grenade charge in this manner will enable you to have much more control over your grenade availability. As a result, you'll never have dry periods during combat, as you'll always be either casting abilities or firing your fusion rifle, both of which will add grenade energy to the battery so you can continue the loop. Mastery of the Sorcerer requires you to understand all of the ways to charge your battery and to be executing at least one of them at any given time. These methods include passive charge with tier 10 discipline, kills with your Demolitionist fusion rifle, using your class ability and picking up orbs for grenade refund via bomber and innervation respectively, and of course, leveraging the refunding synergy between Osmiomancy gloves and Cold Snap grenades. Understanding how to best leverage and fuel the grenade battery is crucial to mastering the Sorcerer stage, at which point you will be ready to continue your journey to become the Emperor. The Emperor exhibits absolute mastery of all ability and weapon rotations, as well as efficient use of the battery. What sets them apart from their previous forms, however, is impossible to miss. A true Emperor is omnipresent on the battlefield at all times, utilizing extensions of themselves via their dozens of stasis turrets and ice flare bolt proccing teammates to bring any opposing force to their knees. Allies and self alike are effectively made invincible due to the simple fact that every enemy is either freezing, frozen, or fallen. As the Emperor, your soldiers follow your each and every order to hold the line of every spawn location and every choke point, every entrance and every exit. If your adversaries wish to reach you, they will have to come through your army of turrets first. However, given your mastery of your core rotation and grenade battery management, those turrets will simply keep coming, leaving you untouchable, unkillable, and absolutely invincible. So here you arrive at the summit of your Stasis Warlock journey. An Emperor you may be, however, no true Emperor may rule without their crown. So here are some fashionable looks for you to use as you see fit. As you ponder your selection, I want to thank the brains behind this build, Imagine, who this video simply would not have been possible without. So if you enjoyed it and decide to generously give it a like in conjunction with subscribing to my channel, I would sincerely appreciate it if you also took the time to click the link in the description or pinned comment to go subscribe to his as well. He is the true Emperor of Stasis Warlock and will surely have a ton more to teach you over the coming months over on his channel. I wholeheartedly believe and quite frankly guarantee that you'll enjoy his content just as much as you do mine. Good luck in your Stasis Warlock journey. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.